Something's up with Jack. Oh, hello. How are you? Welcome to tonight's show. We got a nice action-packed show. Actually, there's nothing action-packed about the show. It's just a talking head. I'm just a talking head on the internet. That's what this is. But we have a very special, I guess you would call this a a verbal joust of goodwill. Okay. It's not it's meant to be actually, my co-host, my guest co-host said it perfectly when I spoke to him earlier today, and I can't remember exactly what he said. I'm sure he'll remind me. He used a word, and the word is escaping me. I think it begins with an R, and I thought it was like the most perfect way to sort of sum up what we're trying to do. But for lack of a word, until I bring him in, he's in the digital green room, sipping on some digital Poland spring water, eating some digital Cheez-Its that are on the digital table in the digital green room. But for lack of a better word, we're having a verbal joust tonight. We're talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas, and more importantly, the eternal question that people have been trying to answer for 31 years. Actually, nobody has been trying to answer this for 31 years at all. Nobody, I don't think anybody like cares what it is exactly. I mean, sure, semantically it gets discussed. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween movie? Believe it or not, I'm gonna actually say the answer before we even start our joust. We both have a side. We both, like like identity politics. We, we both picked we have our sides, and we're sticking to them. These are the hills that we are going to proverbially die on, as we discuss tonight. Who's my guest co-host? This guy. His name's Bob, but he goes by Tabletop Bob. And there's a link to his channel down in the description if you want to see what he's all about. This guy is a Dungeons and Dragons maven. He's a wizard, Harry. This guy loves playing Dungeons and Dragons. He's been doing it forever. He has a channel where, I mean, these guys, they go on journeys, man, for years. Years they go on these journeys. And I pop into their live streams. I listen to what they're talking about for a little bit, and I pop out. It goes over my head, but it's very interesting to just sort of peek in and just see what they're discussing. And man, like I said, they're on a journey, and Bob is like he's the mastermind behind these journeys. He's like the dungeon master or whatever, the guy who sets everything up. And so they go on all sorts of quests. So check out his channel. And this is his first time joining me on my channel tonight, Tabletop Bob. So let's bring out Tabletop Bob out of the digital green room, and we're going to discuss The Nightmare Before Christmas. Hold on, he's right here. Hey, how you doing, Bob?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on, Jeff.
Hey, glad to have you, Bob. How was that? How was that description of your channel and whatnot? Did that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we play Dungeons and Dragons. And I think the word you're looking for before we talked earlier today was rhetoric. In honor of rhetoric, we're going to
Rhetoric.
die on these hills. Yeah.
And you said it perfectly. I'm not going to repeat it. That's literally that's it. That's literally it. So we're here to talk about The Night Before Christmas. Let's just jump right in, like they say on YouTube. I will say, so I mean, Night Before Christmas, it has turned into a staple of the pop culture lexicon, right? Like everybody knows The Nightmare Before Christmas. When a little history too about The Night Before Christmas, when it came out, Disney wasn't sure what to do with it. They were afraid of it. It had been in development hell for almost 10 years. And so they put it out under Touchstone Pictures. And then when it was a smashing success, the Disney was happy to be, they say success has many fathers. Disney was a very proud papa at that moment, and they took ownership over, as well as Tim Burton. But I would say that when talking about those fathers, there's three fathers of success for The Nightmare Before Christmas, and the first one obviously is Tim Burton, who wrote a poem and a story, and it has his sort of visual guide. He provided the concept, right? And then
which I've never actually seen or read the picture book. I've never read it.
It's great.
So
It's
might
like
be
a
something on the
truncated
Christmas
version.
list.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah.
It's like a truncated version of what we get in the movie. And then he brought his concept and his story to Danny Elfman, the
Hmm.
great composer, who's worked on many Tim Burton films, and Danny then fleshed out the story through songs because there was no actual script. There was no real story. So it was Danny's songs that got us from point A to point Z in the story, right? And then it was director Henry Selick, because everybody thinks Tim Burton directed The Night Before Christmas. He was the producer. And it says Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's actually a guy by the name of Henry Selick. He also did James and the Giant Peach. He did Caroline.
Coraline, right?
Coraline. Yeah.
Coraline, yeah. Hmm.
He did a bunch of stuff. He does claymation stuff. Kubo and the Two String. He does all this stuff. And it is his, he has a hand in that success because there are these little moments that they're not in the script. That's Henry Selick going, oh, well, what
Hmm.
if he does this little thing? And Henry Selick starts acting it out. And suddenly that's that beloved little iconic flourish that everybody, recognizes The Nightmare Before Christmas by. Like that's because of Henry Selick. So is there anything you'd like to add about the Genesis origin secret history of The Nightmare Before Christmas?
That's a good way to put it. Like three people kind of really responsible for this. And you're right, totally Touchstone Pictures. It wasn't really promoted. I thought when I was a kid, I didn't even really even know about that was Disney until I was searching for it more recently as an adult. And like, where can I stream this for my kids? But it was on. Yeah, it was on Disney. So I never associated it with Disney, even though, like you said, they technically own it.
What did you
And
see it in the theater?
no, I didn't. I saw it when I was a kid. I saw it when I was maybe like 7 or 8 at my cousin's house, and that's probably the last time I really watched it till I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Uh,
Really? You went
yeah,
that long?
it's yeah, been a long time. And then since my son got old enough to really understand Christmas, that's when I started. We made it a yearly tradition. And I've seen it. I've seen it now at least like 5, 6 times this year already. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, every year it just it's one of our staples now. But I think in terms of like the genesis of it all, I think like you said, coming from this idea that Tim Burton had, and you're right, not a lot of people know that it isn't really his movie. But he does. You can see like his fingerprint all over it.
It's
I
his
mean, this does
style.
have,
It's
yeah,
his tone.
totally. Hmm. And then of course, like you said, Danny Elfman. The music is so good in this movie. I mean, I'm humming it all the time. Like um, even tonight we're making gingerbread houses at the house here. We're
Oh.
making gingerbread house, and we're picking out candy. I'm like, what's this? Like all the time, what's this? And just starting to sing because it's so catchy. So the
Mm-hmm.
music's great. Music's great.
Mm-hmm. Um, Now explain where the impetus for this show came about in your household.
Yeah, actually, the reason why we even started talking about this was because you saw a poll on my channel. I put a poll up
Mm,
on YouTube on
thanks for
my
reminding me.
Tabletop Bob channel, and I
Yeah.
said, "All right, everyone, we need to settle something once and for all. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween or Christmas movie?" And I'll share the poll results in a second. But this all started because one day before Halloween, I think it was the week leading up to Halloween, my kids were like, "Let's put on a Halloween movie." And I said, "All right, great. Let's do it. We're looking, scanning through the Amazon and Netflix and whatnot." And then my wife from the other room was like, "Why don't you put on Nightmare Before Christmas?" And in my mind, I was like, "What? Why would we put on Nightmare Before Christmas? It's not. We're in Halloween first. Let's get." I'm thinking she's like thinking pumpkin spice lattes, before you need to, that sort of style. Thinking Christmas well before Halloween, and I'm like, I mean, I get it. It's got a scary, spooky vibe, but I was like, this is a Christmas movie, and she was like, no, it's a Halloween movie, and I said, interesting. And then I thought about it a little more, and like you said at the onset, if I really logically sit down and thought about it for more than a split second, I can see how it's pretty much both. It could be both. The poll that I did said Halloween 28%, but Christmas 17%, and both 54%. So it seems like that might be the consensus. That might be the consensus. And that was over 109 votes or so. So
I
it
just put
seems
up
like
our
that's
own poll.
consensus.
We have a poll up now, so go and vote if you're
Oh,
watching this, and we'll see what people think in this whoever watches this live chat or whoever sees this. Um, uh, Ultimately, yes. So the answer is it's both. That's the bottom line. But I am of the mind. I guess I'll just reveal it now. I am of the mind that it's actually firmly a Halloween movie before it is
Mhm.
a Christmas movie. So I think we could definitively have an umbrella that says
Sure.
both, but then within
That's
that
what I love. Yeah.
umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Within that umbrella, you can go, it's this movie before this movie. So I
Yeah.
think it's a Halloween movie before it's a Christmas movie, and you think it's a
I thought we were here talking about the Misfits. That's what I thought we were
right.
going to do.
Well, we always talk about the Misfits
Oh,
here,
do you?
Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, at all times.
You know, I hear you're pretty big in the Misfits like lore, essentially, right? I mean,
Oh,
you've had people on your channel with like that. You've had Misfits, haven't you?
I've had many Misfits on the channel.
There you go.
I consider myself to be a historian or a scholar of Misfitsology.
Nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But but tell me, so you are firmly within the camp of,
Yeah. I lean Christmas. I lean Christmas for sure. Hmm.
would you say Christmas? So you say Christmas before Halloween movie,
Yeah. I kind of like you said, but the right answer probably is that it's both.
right?
In my mind, like I said, my wife said, "Put on Nightmare Before Christmas." My reaction was like, "What? No way!" And like I said, that's where I lean.
So, um, all right. So why is that? What is it? What is it for you that makes it Christmas before Halloween?
Well, for me, I think it's hard. It's this like one of those when people say Gremlins, I got my Gremlin sweater on today, or Die Hard, is a Christmas movie. I think there's a little bit of tongue in cheek, like a little bit of this shock value. People want to be like, no, it's not Christmas, and and then there's arguments to and why it would be. But I think you have to think about what makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie. Number one,
It's a good
I
question.
I think because it's not about the holiday, the religious holiday, right?
Right.
Pretty much. I mean, there's elements of it. You have Home Alone, which has the scene in the church. There's some elements of religion in some of the Christmas movies for sure, but not all of them. And I think the the biggest thing having it be about a transformation of a character, like going from someone who doesn't really care about the holiday, like embody the holiday, the spirit of Christmas, to then embodying the spirit of Christmas and the ideas that come with it, like family and things like that. And so that's where I see this movie as being a Christmas movie because that is what Jack does. Now he also messes things up, but in true Christmas movie fashion, has to come back and fix things or at the very least save Santa.
So I think you really just cut. I mean, you just cut right down to the core of the kernel of what we need to explore here. First and foremost, you stated like you're talking about like what makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie,
Hmm.
and I think at the core of every Christmas movie, no matter whether it's religious, although again, Christmas movies are pretty secular. They're actually incredibly secular. um, it always comes down to what is the spirit of Christmas? Like,
Hmm.
what is the Christmas spirit? And it's about losing the Christmas spirit and then trying to find it again. And does Nightmare Before Christmas follow that journey? Like,
Hmm.
and I would say it does not.
Oh, okay.
I would say it does not. And
All
here's
right. So that
why.
was my opening statement. What's your opening statement?
Okay, so my opening statement. All right, well, I want to get back to that, but okay, I'm going to tell you what my opening statement is. This I wasn't even thinking about it from that perspective, but I think that right, what you said right there is actually the proof of that I am right in this
Oh,
argument. Yeah,
oh, I like it.
yeah.
Okay,
But
we'll come back to it. I'm going to put a
we'll
note
come
on
back
that
to it.
one.
Yeah, put a pin in that for a
Going
second.
to start the tally
Yeah,
here.
I
All right,
started the
here we go.
tally. So no, I think that it really comes down to the point of view. We're seeing the story from the point of view of Halloween Town and Jack. And Jack is coming in contact with Christmas. Jack is the pro. Here's the interesting thing, though. does Jack qualify as a protagonist if he is antagonistically, essentially stealing Christmas from Christmas Town? Kind of. He's trying to usurp another holiday. And here, so at the end of the day, what's at the core, if what's at the core of a Christmas movie is Christmas spirit, what's at the core of The Nightmare Before Christmas is identity, right? Identity and culture and cultural confusion and cultural misunderstanding. All these songs are basically about Jack trying to understand a culture that is not his own because he sees something in it that he feels is lacking from his own culture or spirit or what have you, and he wants to embody. So in that way, I guess there is the Christmas. He's in search of the Christmas spirit, right? But ultimately realizes that he's the Pumpkin King, and therefore it almost turns the tables. And it's like, oh no, that's actually a Halloween movie, and I am the Pumpkin King. And we go back to Halloween Town, and we weave Christmas to Santa Claus to fix everything, as you said. And so, first and foremost, it's a Halloween movie before it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, there's that scene at the after he gets shot out of the sky. We're skipping to the end here now, but
we're going to jump around.
We're going to jump around. But that scene where he gets shot by the anti-aircraft guns, somehow doesn't die, and lands.
Oh, he's dead already.
He's dead already. Yeah, actually, that's what sends him back to Halloween Town, huh? He jumps around planes of existence pretty easily, doesn't he?
Yeah,
yeah.
But that's not. That's
That's hand waved, but it's all good. It's all good.
Well,
I do agree with you. That's a good point, because when he lands there and he's on the angel statue, he has that like triumphant, like, I am the Pumpkin King, right? He states it very clearly. But he then does what to right things, the rights that he has, to right the wrongs that he has made. He has to save Santa. And even when he goes to save Santa, he ends up saying to him, he's like, do you think you'll be able to fix everything that I've done? Which again is kind of like, in a way, the way most characters at the end of a Christmas movie is, they're hoping that they didn't ruin Christmas.
Yes, so very true.
It ends up being like, yes, of course, he realizes that Christmas isn't his identity, but at the same time, he ends up knowing that Christmas is important to so many people. And I think he does understand it at that point, understands what it's really all about, and is worried that Christmas was going to be ruined.
I'm okay. So I'm actually gonna counter you right there. Okay. I'm gonna counter you, but I'm also gonna validate you. I'm gonna counter you because I'm gonna say, ultimately, he doesn't understand what Christmas is all about, and turns Christmas back over to someone who does.
Yeah. So I see what
He's like, I don't know what Christmas, I clearly got this Christmas thing wrong. I'm the Pumpkin King, but we can still make this right. So it's like he's still trying to embody what Christmas is all about, but he can't quite, he knows he's not able to. He finds the humility to recognize that it's not, that he can't be Santa Claus. And that only Santa Claus can be Santa Claus. And therefore, and in that way, in a backwards way, it really actually is a Christmas movie. So I guess you're kind of,
that's why it is really right. Both. But I see what you mean. Like the fact that because he realizes he can't be Christmas, that everything he does messes it up, and that he then falls back on, I'll give it back to Santa.
They misunderstand. Yeah. Like there's no malevolence in anything that they're doing. They're like, of course you would want a snake that's eating your Christmas tree.
Right.
Of course you would want, a shrunken head, these are things that we value, but that's what I mean by like, so it's kind of interesting. So there's that perspective, there's like the cultural perspective, but then here's an even deeper one. This cuts a little bit even deeper. The idea of Halloween, which is Samhain, which is kind of like a pagan tradition, right? And the idea that Christmas represents obviously Christianity. And so there's that kind of aspect those two aspects are also sort of at play. Not saying like subversively that's what it is, but just that somewhere within the mix, you kind of have this notion of of two different, whatever you want to call them, cultures, and one is trying to sort of, embrace the other one, and the other one is just doing its thing. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's nobody in the Christmas town that's trying to discover Halloween.
Right. They're just like, we're all about Christmas. We're doing Christmas. And, so I don't know, that I think that's pretty interesting too. Let me ask you this question. These different doors, these different holiday worlds, are we talking different dimensions? Are these interdimensional portals that exist that personify the spirit of a holiday?
Yeah, I think so. I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, as you mentioned at the beginning, and D&D has this like multiverse, extraplanar sort of worlds that you can play in, and I do feel like this Christmas or the trees that are in the forest, they do lead to other dimensions, almost like a gateway to different the holidays dimensions. Because when he goes to Christmas Town, right, it's not children actually, it's elves that are in the beds, and then the workshops and everything. It's almost like a factory town, almost like one of the Lowell mills. It's like, but
it's
just
like
for the
nexus
elves.
point. It's like a nexus point of
Yeah,
where realities bleed through to
exactly.
the other side.
Because there is a real world, right? There's
Right.
a real world, and it seems like all of them have access to it,
Right.
in some way.
Well, what's interesting is, and it's like, how do you get there? Because it's the thing. He's just like, he flies off into the sky and he's in the real world. And you notice there's three distinctive looks between, Halloween Town is very German expressionist, and Christmas Town looks a little bit more, I don't know, for lack of a better word, normal, right?
Looks like Whoville.
Whoville. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's more like Whoville. And then, and then the real world, everything's kind of like boxy and like, sort of has like an order to it that makes more sense. Unlike you look at like Jack's castle and you see that he's like living in the spindly tower. It's like, how does the staircase fit in that thing? You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I guess it's like kind of like a nexus portal. I asked an AI program. We were talking about AI yesterday with Cheetah from the Dead Boys, and he was rallying against it. But I will say I did actually use AI to sort of, I asked AI, I was like, can you create the other worlds that are from the Nightmare Before Christmas? And the AI did not do a very good job, I think. It ended up putting too many Jack Skellingtons in.
So it's the whole town of Jack. Yeah.
This is Thanksgiving Town right here.
Okay. I have a question. Which AI was this? Is this
Bing image creator? And I used I just typed in like, Tim Burton's, Thanksgiving Town. This is a Thanksgiving town. That's a Thanksgiving town. So I mean, I don't know, too many pumpkins, man.
This honestly looks, is this a Thanksgiving town too?
This is a Thanksgiving town. It looks like
might as well be Halloween. Yeah.
Right. That's a Thanksgiving town. This one is man, I don't even know. Oh, here's Easter. This is supposed to be Easter, right? Here's another Easter. I mean, I guess
so. I see the AI is picking up on though. It except for the first one, because the first one did look totally. It almost looked like a Barbie style house, but the other ones here, all of them are trying to tie in some sort of like that twisted, dark, like you said, almost gothic to every one of them. To Easter,
I said Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. I asked it to do that, and it's trying to do its best.
Yeah, like that's Easter, and it's got a Jack Skellington egg.
Right.
Yeah. So
what do you think this one is?
Valentine's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a St. Patrick's Day one? Is that one?
I sure did. I did. I tried to do them all. I tried to get them all. Happy Valentine's Day. Here's St. Patrick's.
Oh, look at the little Jack leprechaun. I love it.
I mean, it's got like, I'm kind of annoyed that Jack is in all of them. I really thought, but I mean, like, listen, this is, I mean,
this Irish. You got the Irish flags.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like I even did. You'll see what the other ones I did. I did a few. I really like this one. Although those flags, wait, are those? Yeah, no, those are Irish flags up there.
I believe it's Irish. Yeah, it's.
What do you think this one is?
4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July town. I was like, I gotta do 4th of July town. Yeah. So there's 4th of July town. Strange. Lots of flags.
Nice.
Um, that one
They,
kind of works, I guess, a little bit. I don't know. Uh, what do you think this one is?
well, I think it's New Year's, right? Because it says New
Yeah.
Year's on the banner. Yeah,
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 it
yeah.
says New Year's.
Mhm.
It's New Year's. I was like, let me do New Year's as well. This is also New Year's.
That
They
I
give
wouldn't tell. I
they
couldn't be
give
able
you
to tell it.
four images for New Year's. Um, what is this one?
Got to be
That is
Christmas. Candy canes.
no, it can't be because I didn't do Christmas Town.
Oh, then New Year's, I
Oh
guess.
no, this is Boxing Day.
Boxing
I
Day.
think I did
Oh,
Boxing Day. Yeah, this is Boxing Day.
was that on the trees?
Um,
No,
no,
right?
but I was like
Okay.
thinking in my head, I'm like, what else? What do you? This is Labor Day,
La-
Labor Day Town, right?
Labor Day. Look at this.
Yeah, why not? Labor Day Town. Bob, I was trying to capture our imaginations, and
This is
so
great. No, this is fun. I
that was
uh
it. That's the end.
I like it. I like them all. I think my favorite was definitely St. Patrick's Day, though.
St. Patrick's Day was a good one. I mean, that's ultimately you see the doors, you see the
Yeah.
Easter door, and you see
Hmm.
the turkey, and it just makes you wonder, like, what the hell did those towns look like? You know,
Frightening, the Thanksgiving one. I mean, it must be just a slaughter of turkeys.
you would imagine that like okay, so I didn't even think about that. So basically, because every one of these holiday towns, they're counting down 365 days till the next thing.
Yeah.
So you have to imagine it's probably full of pilgrims, right? And they are raising just hundreds of turkeys. And these turkeys spend their whole lives. It's kind of like Michael Bay's The Island, you
Okay.
know? Did you ever see that one?
I don't think so. No, I
Oh, it's
gotta
so good.
look it up.
Can I give you all right, so this
Give
is
me
a
the synopsis.
synopsis.
Go
This
ahead.
is a synopsis. Basically, a bunch of people in the future, it seems, live on an island and they don't know what their purpose is or why they're there. They're in these futuristic suits. Turns out they're all a bunch of clones,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're clones for famous rich people who need organs,
What?
and they have
Look
to
at this.
escape. Yeah,
Some big names in here.
yeah. Ewan
Ewan
McGregor,
McGregor.
Scarlett Johansson, Michael Clark
Wow.
Duncan. And so I'd imagine that this Thanksgiving town that we're kind of riffing on right now,
Hmm.
there's just hundreds of turkeys, and they are living their turkey lives. And and if there was a spin-off sequel, it'd be like one turkey, kind of like Logan's Run. One
Yeah.
turkey, one turkey's going, there's something wrong with the world.
Yes. Or like Chicken Run.
Like Chicken Run, literally
Like
like
Chicken Run.
Chicken Run,
Yeah.
which is also a claymation movie. But the
Yeah.
turkey is going, he's going, there's something like it's kind of like the Matrix. Like he sees
Yeah.
the break in the code and he's kind of like, there's
Yeah.
something off, something bad's coming. He keeps thinking something bad's coming. We got to run. We got to run into the woods and get away from these pilgrims. So they do. And they come to the same forest where
Where Jack Skellington was.
and they escape to another town and they lived happily ever after. And that's
Mm,
my Thanksgiving, the Nightmare Before Thanksgiving. That's my
wow.
spin-off sequel.
I'm shocked though there hasn't been a sequel to this movie.
You know, me too, but like it's one of those movies that's so singular, like it's not supposed to have a sequel.
I
There's no
agree
other
with
story
you.
to tell. Like it's just
I'm just
that
shocked that
story.
I'm just shocked that Greed hasn't won out.
Yeah, you're right. Well, they did a prequel video game and a sequel video game.
The money they would make if they did a full blown studio release of
Sure.
Nightmare Before Christmas 2, the toy sales, the streaming, like the run up to it, they would make a boatload of money. And
Now,
and I'm glad that they don't do this.
right,
I
me
hope they
too.
don't, but
Me
they
as
would make
well.
money.
Now there are a lot of sort of like there's a lot of sort of speculation as to who Jack Skellington was in real life. Like I see that from time to time. I'm actually,
Oh, really?
yeah, I should have Google. Hold on, let me Google this real quick. Just fill the
Okay.
dead space for 1 second while I'm doing this.
Yeah, actually, I do, and I'm going to bring it back to the debate for a second, so you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
go
yeah.
look at it. So one of the things that I'm glad you didn't say this because I think it's the weakest argument for the Halloween side of the debate, and that is the visuals. Everything is spooky. Honestly, even Christmas is a little spooky because of the nature of the claymation, how kind of like rough everything moves and looks. There's a creepiness to it all, even the good things. And I will admit, The visuals are maybe some of the best thing about this movie. Like the fact that it's a vibe. The entire aesthetic is a vibe, and it looks like Halloween. I think after that discussion we had earlier in October,
Mhm.
I noticed every single Jack Skellington on a Halloween, decoration in a house, and you don't see many for Christmas. So that, aesthetically it leans into the Halloween side of it. But like I said, Christmas is not about aesthetics. Christmas is more than just the look and the feel. And I think that when it comes to the feel of the Halloween stuff, that's very strong. But the Christmas stuff, the setting, getting it to Christmas Eve, leading up to Christmas Eve, preparing,
Yeah.
almost like this discovery of what it really is almost like a kid finding out, really understanding Christmas the first year. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. And there's like that. I mean, it's, Christmas, childhood belief in Christmas
Mhm.
is all about like innocence, right? And
Yeah.
purity in the sense of like where your imagination is still, your imagination can still or supersede logic and a sense of wonder. And I mean, that's like kind of like the beauty of what Christmas is all about as well. And you're watching these monstrous characters in that sense, trying to figure things out, doing experiments, I found this on Reddit. So someone says that this is the one I was thinking of, but it's like ridiculous.
Who Jack Skellington is in real life?
Jack Skellington went before he died was the Grinch, and Max is Zero, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Now, okay, hold on one second. There's a lot of holes here, if you ask me.
I don't disagree. Yeah, go ahead.
Grinch, before he dies, sorry, Jack Skellington was the Grinch, essentially.
Yeah.
So the Grinch had his whole revelation, his coming to Jesus, so to speak, about Christmas. Maybe literally, maybe figuratively. Then he dies and knows nothing about it. Is Jack Skellington? I don't know. A lot of holes.
There's a lot of holes there. There are some serious, I can't even do this one because it's just so insane. There was another one. There's another film theory. Who was Jack Skellington when he was alive? And I am not going to read any of this because this is dense paragraphic nonsense about just talking about, well, if he lived before the 1645, like it just goes on and on. I can't begin to wrap my mind around this as we're like real time talking on the internet about Night Before Christmas. But I just want to say that there are some serious theories. There's another one I saw that the guy from The Corpse Bride, very simply put, is Jack Skellington when he was still alive. I guess that I'd say of all the ones we just discussed, that's probably the Occam's razor of the situation, right?
They also share essentially a universe, a multiverse, we could even say. They share that connective tissue.
Mm-hmm. Like you could say that Frankenweenie takes place in the real world, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I guess so does The Corpse Bride, maybe, sort of, kind of.
Yeah. Well, at least in the Nightmare Before Christmas expanded universe.
So let me ask you this now. What is the beef between Jack and Oogie Boogie? Why does Jack detest Oogie Boogie? And what did what happened between these two guys?
Yeah.
Why, what's going on? What do you think, Bob, off the top of your head?
Well, before I answer that, I think this is the sequel right here. It's a prequel.
Oh, okay.
It's a prequel. And we see a young Jack Skellington before he's the Pumpkin King, maybe learning under the original Pumpkin King. And maybe him and Oogie Boogie were both vying for the position.
Interesting.
And then Jack wins and in dramatic fashion curses him. And therefore he gets his body full of insects. That's his curse. And banishes him into the dungeons.
I feel like he just always loved eating those bugs. Like he was just all about.
Well, that could have been the curse.
Well, what about this? What if Jack Skellington is actually Ichabod Crane? Because
he does say he can remove his head, right?
Yeah. So I just sorry that just came to me just now. That totally works too. Yeah,
he's lanky.
He is lanky. He's got
Yeah.
shovels for feet, as they say, as it says in the story.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a logic, there's like a rhyming, there's like a rhyme and reason to things that take place in Halloween Town. Like, for instance, one thing is you got these three trick-or-treaters, these hatchet men, if you will, that all work for Oogie Boogie. And I don't know, I just get the sense of like this social hierarchy that's never fully fleshed out or explained. I thought you did a pretty good job of trying to connect the dots there. What is the fun that Oogie Boogie wants to have with Santa Claus? He's like, kind of like, it's a little weird, right?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what we never got to see it. Luckily, we don't get to see it.
Right. He says, keep him someplace real comfortable. Keep him with Oogie Boogie. What does Oogie Boogie do? Like honestly, there's one, that part where his mouth opens up and it goes real dark. And I just think, like, what is he doing to Santa Claus? Like, what is happening? Like the imagination reels with possibilities, but it's just like, what is like, so what does he do? Like, what does he actually do? Is like, that's all that bad. Is he like tickling him? Like, what's going on?
He does like to tickle people. We know that.
That's yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
He tickles the leg of Sally. Now,
that's very true.
One thing too, I noticed when I was preparing for this debate, I did just want to look at the cast, and one of those children is actually the Paul Rubens.
Yes, and what's her face? Kathleen. Oh God, what's her name?
O'Hara for the Sally. Yeah, from Mom from Home Alone.
Yeah.
There's some royalty in this.
There's a lot of Tim Burton likes working with a circle of familiar faces and characters, and initially Danny Elfman was not supposed to be the singing voice of Jack, but he just like felt that he was, and like really lobbied for himself. And I mean, thank God he did, because could you imagine anybody else doing that but Danny Elfman, right?
Yeah, he does a great job. And something I did not know though from this, I didn't know that there was a speaking voice for Jack, and
Chris
then
Sarandon.
Danny does I didn't know that.
And
I did not know that till recently. Yeah.
And do you know what other two movies Chris Sarandon is in?
I don't. Off the top of my head, no.
He is the cop in Child's Play, the original Child's Play.
Oh, okay. That scarred me for life, that movie, by the way.
That is a movie that would scar anyone for life. And you'd imagine Chucky would fit in perfectly in Halloween Town, obviously.
He's got his mansion there, I'm sure.
Yeah. And Chris Sarandon also plays Jerry Dandridge, the vampire, Jerry the Vampire in Fright Night.
I do see it, yeah. I do see that now, yeah.
Yeah.
2011.
Question, have you? No. That's the remake. The original Fright Night is from 1985. And
in it. But he's in this, it says.
Oh, he's in, and maybe he has a cameo.
Or something, yeah.
I saw the remake once, but the original Fright Night is basically imagine Rear Window, but with a vampire. And it's just, I mean, it's a classic. It's a friggin', it's a horror classic. Both of those movies were also directed by Tom Holland, not Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man,
yeah. The other Tom Holland.
I'm going to check this movie out. The original
Fright Night. Oh my! I highly recommend it. Really, really, really good. Roddy McDowell from Planet of the Apes plays sort of like a Vincent Price type TV personality, and the show is called Fright Night. That's where and this kid, basically a vampire moves next door. This kid thinks that he's like, my next door neighbor's a vampire. Nobody believes him, except he sees the vampire being a vampire. The vampire is like, I'm gonna get you, motherfucker. So he's like trying to deal with vampires, typical teenage angst, having to deal with vampires moving next door, right?
Love it.
Speaking of vampires, the vampires in The Nightmare Before Christmas are an interesting bunch. They have they speak odd, and they walk around, and they talk about searching for Jack behind the Cyclops eye,
Well, yeah, they kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, they're the ones who like see into the portal or something, right? Didn't they?
Yes, they're keeping an eye on Jack when he goes flying through the air. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But here's the thing. Here's the image that I'm left with when they say, I checked behind the Cyclops eye for Jack, right? Jack is like a normal sized person. So this Cyclops somewhere in this Halloween town there's a giant cyclops, ginormous cyclops, and his eye socket is so big that a guy the size of Jack Skellington could get stuck behind there, and that you got to periodically check behind the cyclops eye.
Or maybe it's a figurative term. Maybe it's not really a cyclops, or it's a statue, or a something that is not, not the actual creature.
A metaphorical cyclops,
or it could be a metaphorical cyclops. Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's like it's a rock that just
they
like
call it
like
the cyclops.
owl rock.
Yeah.
The cyclops. So he's checking behind the cyclops eye.
Now, all these little things that they throw in there, like you said, like checking behind the cyclops eye, and just all these little attention to detail things that they threw in there because they thought it it sounds cool or adds to the depth of the world. If they made a sequel, they pick on, and this happens all the time. It happens in Star Wars. Happen with all the the bigger. They oh, we're gonna take that. What Obi-Wan Kenobi fought with him in the Clone Wars. Oh yeah, we're gonna make the Clone Wars the entire focus of the next trilogy. They would do something like that, and it would be, I think it would be a big mistake.
Actually,
to just pick one thing.
You know what, Bob? I'll tell you exactly what I think would happen in a sequel. I could paint. It's like almost paint by numbers. I could tell you what happens in the sequel, and I'm going to.
Tell me. I want to hear it.
I'm going to in 1 minute. It's a really sticky idea, and you know what else is sticky, Bob?
Okay.
Stickers. And Riot Stickers.
Look at that.
Is the sponsor of the Frumess channel. That's right. If you have a need for stickers, go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. That's FRUMESS, where you can take advantage of our special promotion today. You can get 100 die cut stickers for $33. And you want to know something?
Wow.
Let's say that you wanted 200 stickers. You know how much you could pay for that? $66. And let's say you wanted to triple it, Bob. You could triple it. You can get 300 stickers for $99. And here's the thing about a die cut sticker. A die cut sticker is a sticker that's made with a computer guided scalpel. What does that mean? It means that if you want a sticker in the shape of Jack Skellington, of Oogie Boogie, Pumpkin, of Christmas Town, you can get it done. You can get it done with the computer guided scalpel, making the exact custom shape of whatever. You've seen them a million times. That's what a die cut sticker is. And obviously you're going to want to be careful. You're going to want to ask Disney's permission first, because they'll probably sue the shit out of you if you don't. But you can get any image you want, you can get done at riotstickers.com/Frumess. Link is down in the description. So make sure you go and subscribe to Bob's channel. And then after you subscribe to Bob's channel, go click on the link, riotstickers.com/Frumess. We're going to watch the quick 60-second video from the guy from Less Than Jake, and we will be right back. And I'm going to tell you what the paint by numbers sequel to Nightmare Before Christmas actually would be.
Ooh, what a tease.
By committee. Yeah, what a tease.
Nice.
Stay tuned.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too, posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And that is a promise.
Wow. Look at that.
Okay, we're back, and we're talking The Night Before Christmas. I think we've let's first real quick, let's just check on our poll. Let's see if anybody has voted on our poll before we get to what I was describing, my what I think would be the sequel.
It's similar to what I was my poll. Very similar.
Right. Yeah, so it's 60% both and 20 and 20 for the other ones. Only 5 votes. Not a lot of votes. That's okay. Can I vote? I can't even vote. I can't vote on my own poll, whatever. Who cares?
Oh, you can't on yours?
No,
Yeah, I haven't
I'm
thought
not gonna
about that.
let me.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I think would go down, and this is the type of soulless, formulaic CEO in a boardroom, Hollywood suit type of sequel they would try and extract from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So here's what's going down. Jack Skellington. All right. So let me rewind for a second. There's an ancient, dormant villain of some kind. You know what? Let's say it's the Cyclops. Let's just go there, since we already talked to the Cyclops. The Cyclops has actually been asleep for 2,000 years. We get a prequel, like a pre-interlude, that shows us how the Cyclops, Jack's like great grandfather, some bullshit. Somebody banished the Cyclops to sleep for 1,000 years, and now that 1,000 years is up. Something happens. In fact, it's the three trick-or-treaters. They knock over a rock that like cracks over the head of the Cyclops, waking it up accidentally. They get frozen, of course, by some magic that like freezes everybody in town slowly but surely, because that's what always happens to these things. The Cyclops then kidnaps Jack and basically goes from town to town, stealing the essence from all the spirit of each holiday town, because it wants to make his own town in his own image or something like that. And it's up to some underdog in Halloween Town that I can't think up off the top of my dome. I'm trying my best. And this underdog is their character development is that they don't feel like they're scary enough, right? They're always trying to be scary, and they just can never, pull it off for Halloween, the Halloween celebration. In fact, that's when we cut to, after the 1,000 years, after Lock, Stock, and Barrel wake up the Cyclops, we cut to the Halloween celebration for this year. And this creature, whatever it is, it's like a kid. Maybe it's that little Cyclops kid or whatever, like just can't pull off his piece of the Halloween celebration. He's really rough on himself, and he sings a song about it and yada, yada, yada. And then Jack gets kidnapped by the Cyclops, and it's up only this little mummy kid or whatever it is. Everybody else gets frozen in time, and only he can go and stop the Cyclops from stealing the spirit from all the other towns. Once it has the spirit essence from every town, it can do whatever the thing that it's going to do. And it's got Jack held up, and then it has Oogie Boogie is not dead. And the little mummy creature has to team up with Oogie.
Well, he comes
Boogie.
back to life, at least.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. He comes back to life. Yeah.
Comes back to life. All the bugs are like scuttled together, and then like a burlap sack falls on them. And it's Oogie Boogie has to help the mummy. They team up along with Santa Claus, mind you. Santa Claus is there too. They do the final attack happens in Santa's sleigh as they fight the giant.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. They free Jack Skellington. Jack Skellington sings a song, "Free at Last," and they
You've got the titles.
They fight the Cyclops, and they restore balance to the holiday spirits. And is that not like what a bunch of suits would come up with by committee in it's very similar to something I was thinking of. So you said, like, what would it look like? And I agree 100%. They would definitely include all the other realms, because for 30 years people have been like, what's St. Patrick's Town like? What's that, like we just did, right? So they gotta go there because they need to show that that's going to be a fan service. Then you've got also the idea that they would pick one minute little detail to then be like, that's the scab we're going to open to get into this new story. Right.
I love the idea of adding to the lore of this place by something that happened 1,000 years ago.
Right.
I'm all on board with all that. The only difference
is
I think the main character, the hero, would be Sally in this one.
Oh, you just nailed it on the fucking head, Bob.
That's
fucking yeah.
It'd be Sally.
I wasn't thinking of that. Of course it's Sally. And not only that, Dr. Finkelstein, the Frankenstein and the
Mhm.
wheelchair guy, he's lamenting the fact that his love that shares half his brain, she was frozen too. So he goes, Sally, here's design Sally a special device that can help restore all
Yeah.
of the spirits from all the different, because you know what happens. There's some sort of artifact,
A MacGuffin for sure.
right? There's a MacGuffin artifact that the Cyclops has, and that's what sucks out the spirit, and then everything looks gray, right? Like everything's gray, and he's just going from
It's
town
gray.
to town.
So it's like The Giver. They stole all of color.
Yeah, yep, pretty much. And that is like what I guarantee you that somewhere in some boardroom at Disney, a bunch of suits were like, what do we do for the sequel? And then they're thinking, oh, we could do like our own Disney Epcot where we could travel, which why the hell have they not done that? I would make $1 billion.
Right. Travel from place to place,
town, right? Like Epcot, you do, or you dress up Epcot like it's a Nightmare for Halloween. You do Nightmare for Christmas, right? Each place is a thing.
Yeah.
And like that's just in a world where Disney has all the money, that's where Disney's actually leaving a little bit of money.
Right now, as we speak, there's somebody in a CEO suite at Disney who is watching us, and he's taking notes right now.
Hey, stranger things have happened. Listen, super quick sidebar as we're winding down here, folks. Super quick sidebar. 10 years ago, I came up with the idea for the movie ISS, which just came out, like the space station movie, that thriller. That is almost word for word an idea, a premise that I came up with 10 years ago. And now here it is as a $20 million movie. Now, is that me saying that the writer of that movie somehow found my idea and stole it? Like I think that's quite impossible, but it just goes to show that sometimes you might have an idea that someone wants to put $20 million behind. And that was the sort of silver lining impression. I was like, I can't believe this idea that I've been kicking around forever. This is actually a movie now. Like this is a movie, and it's a pretty good movie. It's at first I was a little annoyed because I'm just kind of like, man, you really just got to make stuff. Because if you don't make stuff, someone else will think of the same thing and then make it before you do. Not that I would ever have $20 million to do that, but the point being, no, I have Bob. I wish. The point being in all this is that, you never know what somebody's thinking up, and I guarantee you that somewhere in some room in Disney they thought of something along those lines, because that's something formulaic sequel sort of. We got to expand the world. We got to go back in time to something that happens before the original movie. Like just all those elements are in every Disney sequel, man.
All the beats, you got it.
All the beats, right? Exactly. It's literally all the different beats. So where do we stand on our debate as we wrap up here? Where do we stand on everything?
Well, I'll review my thoughts here. You made some good points. Like you said, the idea that at the end of this movie, Jack realizes Christmas is not something he's capable of. Like it's not within his DNA. And so he kind of falls back onto the title, the Pumpkin King, but I still, again, like I was mentioning at in my opening statement, was that the way the film concludes, yes, it concludes with him realizing that he's not Santa, can't be Santa, but yet at the same time embracing himself, right? And that's no Halloween movie, I feel like, just embracing themselves. Well, actually, it's not the case. Cabin in the Woods does that.
Yeah.
And there's a few other
true.
ones, but I was thinking of like more of the classics, the slashers. Those are just really not even movies; they're just experiences. But but the core principle of a Christmas movie is sort of like coming to that realization of like what the meaning of Christmas is, and even if you aren't Santa or can't do what he does, the way I see it is that the theme of self-discovery and realizing the joy of what Christmas really is the key of his arc. He goes from, realizing that even Halloween is his thing, and that's okay. I think that actually falls right into the Christmas trajectory of an arc. So, but I mean, we've said this before. It's both. I mean, I can't even argue that there's like so many other reasons why it would be Halloween, and just a couple other things I thought about too. Like it starts and ends with Halloween. Like it is Halloween to the start. The first movie's musical sequence is "This is Halloween," literally, and then it ends with Halloween again. That bookends the whole movie. So there's arguments on both sides, and I think it's fun to do these like mental exercises.
I will say, I'll say this too. Like, there is also like a prometheal aspect to the whole thing where, the idea that like, or not, Prometheus, a combination of Prometheus or Icarus, where,
Hmm.
Jack discovers something. He tries to harness something that he can't control.
Hmm.
And ultimately, then like the Icarus myth, he flies too high in the sky, and his hubris causes him to fall. And when he falls, he is imbued with a type of humility to recognize who he truly is, or remember who he truly is, which then allows him to not only do the right thing, but because he realizes, I'm not capable of setting things right, but I know who can. And therefore, I need to let the person who could set things right go and do that. And
Yeah.
that, that doesn't really fit in what I just said, doesn't really fit or jive with either. It's inconsequential to whether it's a Halloween or a Christmas movie.
Right.
But I just think that stuff is in the movie. It's both.
It's both.
Bottom line, it's both.
There's a lot of joy and hope though in this movie. Wouldn't you agree?
Let me think about that. There's definitely, okay. So on the aspect of joy, absolutely. But there's joy in the sense that Jack feels unfulfilled, and he discovers something new that brings him great joy. And he watches these beings. These beings are beings of joy. Like everybody who's in Christmas Town, they don't seem to have any pathos the way that Jack does. Like, they're just happy to be doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Although all the other creatures in Halloween Town are too.
That is also true. So there is joy. So really it's Jack, and I would also say Sally. I mean, that's not, I don't know, man. Cause like, Dr. Finkelstein, he's looking for a mate. Sally is interested in Jack. Jack is interested in Christmas. The mayor is also following, Jack around. Like, it's kind of interesting how, I guess that's true. And then what was the other thing besides joy?
Hope.
What was the other? Hope. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the hope? The hope is
Jack hopes that Christmas that if they can do Christmas and fulfill Christmas, that it would bring them greater joy. That Halloween isn't the only thing that can bring people joy.
And it would bring them greater joy and enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
As we wrap up our episode here, it looks like our poll finishes with 75% say both, and 12% yes and 12% no. So that's the total range.
I said, my D&D viewers, these are D&D people, mind you. So
okay, all right.
It was 110 votes, 28% Halloween, 17 Christmas, and 54 both.
Wow. There you go. Bob, I really want to thank you so much for coming on here and talking Nightmare Before Christmas with you. And one last thing before we go, I just realized when you look at it, look at the title of the movie?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, meaning that, in fact, I think you're right. I think it is a Christmas movie.
Now, I did some research as well, and I found out that it came out before Halloween. So I don't remember it being released or when it was, because I didn't see it in the theaters, but it was a Halloween release.
Oh.
That does not mean, though, that it's the Halloween movie, because other movies for Christmas have been released earlier, not during the Holiday
like
season.
November. I feel like Christmas movies can come out in November, and then what's interesting is horror movies come out in primarily No, I was going to say around October, but also in January, February.
Yeah, the dead of winter, because it's
Yeah.
a lull for movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people like January is like a good time for that. So that's interesting. So put all of that into your brain computers if you're out there listening. And again, I want to thank Bob. Make sure to subscribe to Bob's channel. It's down in the description. Link is down in the description. And Bob goes on all sorts of journeys and quests right from the comfort of his house through the power of storytelling and imagination. So if you ever want to take a journey with Bob, tune into his channel, turn to his live streams, and we'll see you again real soon. I'm going to say, what do we say? How do we say goodbye on the channel? We say peace and hair grease, and we will see you next time. Bob, hang on for 1 second. Yeah, there you go.